Yankees lose.
Hits it in the air to right. Back at the wall, and the White Sox win it.
Stretch. Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.
Welcome back, everybody. Another exciting episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. We are pretty much knotted up at 2-2 here in the World Series after a very fun and exciting live stream last night that kind of witnessed a little bit of history with the combined no-hitter thrown by several guys that we'll get into later in this episode. I don't know. It's been exciting. I mean, you saw Philly jump out to that first Game 1 win. We'll recap the first 4 games that we've seen thus far. There is Game 5 tonight. We are recording Thursday for posted Friday, so we will not have a recap of Game 5 in here, but we will have a preview of what we were expecting for tonight's game, which will have happened as you will listen to this podcast. But as we always do, let's check in with our co-host, Alex, after a fun night last night. How you feeling today? And are you excited for Game 5 tonight?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, last night's game was fun. It was a good live stream. We actually had somebody, for those who missed it, ask us in like the third inning how we felt about combined no-hitters. So to see that then just happen for the first time ever in a World Series game was kind of crazy to see. So that was good. And it was a fun game. And now we're at a point in the series where both teams have had these dominant wins. Momentum's kind of up for grabs. Will be interesting to see what that Philly crowd looks like tonight. I assume it's going to be bumping. I'd be surprised if it wasn't, you know. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a really exciting series. Now, I hope Philly wins because I think that makes the last 2 games a lot more interesting because Houston will probably be favored in both. We got Verlander on the mound tonight, which is obviously a huge storyline. I think the world was shown last night that this guy's kind of a World Series fraud. I didn't know that. Obviously, Game 1 was a bad performance from him, but I didn't know that was a common thing. But he looked locked in. Astros guys were saying they got faith in him, so it's time to show it. But yeah, I'm doing well, man. I'm excited about this. We're getting spring again, or for like early fall again. It was 70 degrees in Chicago today. Cannot complain.
It was a beautiful day here in Chicago. Without a doubt, there's no reason to complain as it is kind of middle of fall, November 3rd. As you touched on, definitely a great start to this series. Let's kind of jump right into it. Game 1, like we talked about, in Houston, a fun and exciting one. Houston would jump out to the early lead, scoring a few on Aaron Nola before the Philadelphia Phillies would respond and take this one in extra innings. Houston would jump out to an early 5-0 lead, and a big reason why we didn't halt said live stream last night because people have come back from 5-run leads. And so Philly did this in the fourth, starting in the fourth with a Castellanos single to left, scoring Hoskins and then Baum doubled to left, scoring Castellanos and Harper to make it a 5-3 game in the fourth before Real Muto would double, scoring Schwarber and Marsh in the fifth to tie it. And then in the top of the 10th inning, JT Realmuto, home run to right field, 346 off the bat, sends the Astros crowd home, unhappy as they're unable to tie or give themselves the lead in the bottom of the 10th. And the Phillies would hang on to win Game 1 of this World Series. Quite the shocker for anyone that had Philly on the money line. It would have been a little bit of a moneymaker, as I know they were, I believe, at least a plus 125 underdog in that Game 1. Game 2, back in Houston again. The Astros would respond, again, jumping to an early lead, this time being in the first, scoring the first 3 unanswered runs before Bregman would homer in the fifth. Signs of life would come from the Phillies in the 7th inning, scoring 1 run, and then another in the 9th, but that was all the Phillies were able to muster behind Zach Wheeler's 5-inning, 6-hit, 4 earned 3 walk and 3 strikeout performance as the Framber Valdez and the Astros would hold on to win game 2, 5-2. Immediate thoughts, Alex, on game 1 and game 2. I mean, kind of the flop of both sides. You saw a little bit of a comeback from Philly in game 1, and then kind of a little bit more of dominance from Houston, at least in the point of, again, jumping to another early 5-0 lead and being able to pitch and hold this one out to take game 2. But what are your thoughts on the first 2 games of that series?
Yeah, so game 1, I mean, game 1 was the game of the series, regardless of how this turns out. And we could probably have a game 7 that would be crazy. That's fine. But if game 1 goes and the Astros just continue to pile onto that lead and run away with it, I think the air is just taken out of this whole series. I think Philly fans are hurt. Baseball fans who want the Astros to lose are sitting there looking like, do we even have a chance here? Because when the Astros got out to that quick 5-0 lead, you're sitting there like, well, this is a horrible situation to be in. And the team that everyone was like, on paper, you're a lot better, is coming out and dominating. You're not liking that. But then they battle back and they come back and steal that game. The series becomes a toss-up, you know? Whereas before the series, I would have said the Astros are a big favorite, like on paper. When they win that game, now it's 50-50. And even if you lose the next game, it's still 50-50 because you just showed you can do that. You know, you can come back against their ace and dominate. So that was a huge game. I was very happy to see it, you know. Obviously want the Phillies to win, and yeah, it was just good to see. So that was one of the more exciting game 1s of World Series I can remember. Just having a road team come in and have that come back and set the tone for the rest of the series. In game 2, you get Framber to come out, and I think Framber has turned into the scariest pitcher in this series, and it's saying a lot because there's some really good pitchers, but Framber just didn't look like he could touch him. I described it the other day as like he throws bricks, and it feels like that. It feels like if you hit that sinker, it's just not going anywhere. It feels like the power isn't there, and then he'll just destroy you with that curveball, and you'll be on the ground thinking, where did that pitch go? So I don't know. We saw both big hands, and then I think for Philly, taking 1 of 2 in Houston is all you can ask for. Now it's about taking care of business back home. You obviously drop one, which isn't ideal, but if you can get out of Philly up 3-2, what else can you ask for, you know? So, I don't know. The first 2 games went about as good as possible, I think, you know? Competitive, showed both teams are in it, and that the Phillies weren't going to get run out of this place, you know?
No, and that's what you saw immediately from game 1, at least in terms of the sense of being able to respond and being able to come back and take the lead and eventually win game 1 for Philadelphia. Game 2, Houston kind of flexed a little bit of their muscle, especially on the starting pitching end, going with a stalling outing, like you said, from Framber Valdez. Apologies. And then you kind of walk into game 3 that was supposed to be Halloween night, Monday, but due to some shitty weather in Philadelphia, that would be postponed till Tuesday. And were Philly fans happy about this? Not only did both teams end up getting an extra day of rest, which is good for both sides, get a little healthier, get a little bit more rest within your starting rotation, gives us the ability to pitch some of these guys as soon as possible, as we'll talk about. But for this matchup, you would see, like we predicted, and also like we predicted game 2, first 3 games, we predicted the correct starters. So creds to us a little bit.
Let's go. We projected the starters.
But game 3 saw Ranger Suarez pitch to the win versus Lance McCullers Jr. Ranger going 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk on 4 strikeouts for 76 pitches, pitching to the win for Philadelphia versus Lance McCullers Jr. And if you haven't seen already, the headlines immediately, the scoreline of this game, 7-0 Phillies. And the storyline of the game, Lance McCullers was tipping his pitches. And you see kind of a clear video of Harper alerting, I think it was Hoskins at the time, watch for this. And if it wasn't, who was it? No, it was Bohm, who then ended up going deep in this one. So 7 runs on five home runs. Harper getting into it early in the first pitch of the at bat. The stadium's rocking as he comes up. It's kind of a pretty cool clip. And Harper takes him deep to start the game. Alec Boehm, the third baseman, is ended up going deep with a single home run in the second. And same with Marsh. And before the fifth, where Kyle Schwarber would homer to center, hitting it 443 feet. So a bomb again from Kyle Schwarber. And then Rhys Hoskins in the fifth for his 6th, I believe, home run of the postseason to make it 7-0. And that would be all the scoring Philadelphia would need, as Houston would put up a goose egg with only 5 hits. Philly out hit them 7-5 in this game 3. I think with the tipping of the pitches from McCullers, I believe it's something with his, I don't know if it was with his glove or with his leg motion, but let's kind of discuss what we saw in game 3 real quick, because obviously a shellacking, a home run derby. As we talked about in the chat last night, like, would we rather see a pitching duel or a home run derby? I think we saw it in the one-sided affair of game 3 versus kind of the pitching masterpiece that Houston was able to put up in game 4 before we break into that. I don't know. What do you see in game 3?
Yeah, I mean, McCuller was definitely tipping his pitches, but they were also horrible pitches. So, like, that pitch to Harper should be gone every time, and he took advantage. I mean, there's a difference between making a mistake and somebody taking advantage of your mistake, and both things happened there. And that pitch was just a hanging slider, and that ball had to be gone. And again, talk about like a momentum shifter. Like, you come to Philly, that crowd's already rocking. Playoff baseball before the game, like, everybody, there's just energy. You can hear people, like, I feel like people just talk louder. I don't know, there's some buzz. And then for him to go and do that is just like tear the roof off. And they kept going, and that's probably the game. Like, I think when you're looking at the World Series, that's the game you want that to happen, because you have Ranger Suarez on the mound, who has been a very good pitcher and delivered one of the better performances, 5 innings, no runs, and looked really good. Just locating, everything was good. But at the same time, he's not one of your 2 top guys. You want to give him some runs so you can go out there and start cruising, and that's what he did. And going 5 innings is really good work from him. Save some bullpen. I know, like, back in the day, even like a couple years ago, you wouldn't say 5 innings is saving the bullpen, but this is 2022 baseball. If you can get 5 out of your starter in the playoffs, you're very happy about that. Anything more is kind of, you're looking at the bullpen the whole time. So big performance from him, big way with the bats, and set the tone for a moment in the series, But then, game 4 happened, and now we're at this kind of deadlock of what will go down. But I don't know, huge performance. It was fun to see that. You're always worried in a series that you're not going to get to see those moments in a home crowd. And it's like, almost regardless of what happens, that game and that atmosphere is something that they're going to, like, that Harper homer is going to live on, even if they lose this series. Obviously, they don't want to, and it'll mean something different if they lose the series, but an electric moment in Philly sports history.
Without a doubt. I mean, the MVP chants were being sung around the stadium. Like I said, first pitch of that bat into right field, gone. Pretty much a no-doubter from Harper. Pretty quiet, and was pretty calm as he rounded the bases. Wasn't too crazy, kept it composed, so you love to see that. But potentially could be the MVP of this series for Philly if they're able to pull it out. Let's move on to the live stream. As people watched, as people tuned in, we appreciate everyone that was in the comments yesterday. Jonathan Palaio, Corey Parks, and Rick Aguilar, and more. We appreciate you guys hopping in the comments. But this was the story. This was the story of Christian Javier. 6-inning pitch, 9 Ks, 0 hits, and it ended up being a special combined no-hitter, as Alex kind of mentioned. I think it was Jonathan Palaio in the chats who kind of brought up what would we rather, what is our thoughts of seeing a combined no-hitter, and what would you know? we would end up seeing one last night in Philadelphia, as Houston was able to roll out a combined no-hitter with Brian Abreu, Rafael Montero, and Ryan Presley all pitching an inning apiece. Dominant performance pitching-wise from Houston. Special stuff, as I said, a combined no-hitter. Scoring wise, all would be through balls in play. No long balls in this game. Houston would score 5 in the 5th inning, leading it off with a Chas McCormick base hit that would lead the 9th for the Astros, and he would ended up being the first run driven in as Yordan Alvarez was hit by a pitch, and that kind of started the chain of effects as basically Houston, I believe, hit through their order, if I'm not mistaken, in that 5th inning, with Yuri Gurriel finishing it with a single to left, driving in Bregman. But Bregman would double, Tucker would hit a sac fly, Gurriel a single. That would be Houston scoring in this game 4, and the pitching would do the rest as Houston kind of just cruised to a game 4 win, 5-0. Big theme of the series is that Houston's going to score 5 runs. In reality, 3 out of the 4, they've scored at least 5 runs. Obviously, game 3 didn't score a run, but interesting stuff. What do you see during our live stream? What do you think of game 4 last night?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game. Not my favorite style of game, but a couple big takeaways. Christian Javier is a bad man. It looked like he was just throwing. I mean, the location was so good, but it also he threw 2 pitches. I'm surprised nobody got to him, but I guess that just shows how good and pinpoint accurate. It's like a 94-mile-an-hour fastball and like a disgusting slider, but still, it's not what you get 6 innings out of typically. But they couldn't touch him. Kyle Tucker is really good. I mean, I think we were watching. We see him not tag, but it was a ground ball to third base when he was on second, and he got there after the throw went to first, and there was really nothing Philly could do about it. That was a really good play. Chas McCormick, I mean, we've talked about the bottom of the lineup this whole series. The bottom of the lineup matters a ton. Chas McCormick starts that rally. Christian Vasquez was really good. Bottom of the lineup just is valuable in so many ways. Not only do you turn the lineup over, but you turn the lineup over with runners on base. You get your good hitters more at-bats, and they've just been really good. So, Chas McCormick I don't think the Astros are here without him. And I know it's crazy to say, but, he was in the center of that Yankee series too. This guy just comes up clutch. Yeah, but overall, I mean, I think the big takeaway is, how do you respond, Philly? You come off one of the best offensive games in playoff history to deliver the worst offensive game in playoff history. It just is it's a weird conundrum we're in right now. The momentum is up for grabs. I don't know how you can be feeling going into it. Because if you're Philly at the same time, you're like, we're at home. We have a chance to take a commanding lead in the series. At the same time, you're like, we just got no hit, and we have Verlander coming to the mound. It's a weird thing. You wouldn't think you'd have more confidence hitting against Verlander, but I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting right now. I have a little more confidence in them to score against Verlander than Framber or Christian Javier, So I don't know. It's a weird vibe right now. I can't tell you exactly what's going on here, but we're going to find out very soon.
Absolutely. A concern heading into this game 5. We'll send it down to game 5 preview that is tonight. You will obviously know the result as this podcast will be posted tomorrow. Game 5 starters. Noah Syndergaard, his first postseason start, I believe. Maybe his second. Not totally sure.
I'll find out.
Syndergaard on the mound for Philly, and then Justin Verlander on the mound for Houston. Already spotting, I think, a 9 ERA in this series. Verlander, 0 for 6 in his career in World Series matchups. Career ERA is awful. A guy who's just been unable to get it done in the Fall Classic. As people kind of talked about, at least on the post game last night, they're saying if he's able to pitch to a great outing tonight, that all is forgotten. In reality, 0 for 6 for the guy who's going to win the AL Cy Young. It's quite shocking, but that is reality. The stats that Justin Verlander has thrown in his career for World Series matchups, kind of scary stuff if you're Houston fans. Got to hope that he delivers a great performance. And that's kind of where I want to break it down into the Philly side of it. You saw heading into this playoffs, as we talked about on the live stream, as we've talked about on many episodes in the playoffs, they were cold heading into the playoffs. They found their at-bats, and then your combined no hit last night. That's a scary thought for this team that seemingly is a little bit streaky and can go cold. And when they go cold, they are awful. When you have Noah Syndergaard on the hill, you kind of want run support, and you kind of need it. So it should be interesting to see what Philly's able to muster up for offense in terms of kind of what the lineups look like, breaking it in. It doesn't seem like there's too many changes for Houston. Altuve will lead off, Jeremy Pena at shortstop, Jordan Alvarez at left field, Alex Bregman at third, Kyle Tucker in right, Yuri Gurriel at first, David Hensley at DH, interesting enough, Chas McCormick, and then Martin Maldonado, your boy, is back in the lineup for Houston. Career-wise numbers versus Syndergaard, it's actually surprising. Not a ton of appearances versus Noah, but Altuve's 0 for 5, Pena's 0 for 3, Alex Bregman really the only one in 2 appearances, 1 for 2. So, and Kyle Tucker 1 for 3, the only real guys to have serious success versus Syndergaard. Bregman having the lone RBI. Philly-wise, they will line up with Kyle Schwarber leading off in left field, Rhys Hoskins at first, JT Realmuto behind the plate, Bryce Harper DHing, Nick Castellanos in right, Alec Boehm at third, Bryson Stott, the rookie, at shortstop, Gene Segura, your boy, and then at second, and Brandon Marsh in the 9 spot at center field. Career number-wise versus Verlander, Schwarber 0 for 2, Hoskins 1 for 3, JT Realmuto 1 for 5, Harper with 3 for 8 with 3 strikeouts, Castellanos 2 for 11, and Segura 4 for 16. Stott 0 for 3 in brief appearances versus Verlander. I believe that only appearance being game 1. That's kind of the matchup, the lineups for game 5. I know I've been talking a little bit, so I'll kind of let you give your thoughts on what you're expecting to see, what your prediction is for this game. Personally, knocking on a little wood, I put some money on the money line of the underdogs, Philadelphia Phillies. I like them to respond well here in game 5, and I'd love to see Philadelphia send it back to Houston with a 3-2 lead going to game 6. But buddy, what are you seeing here in game 5 tonight?
I love it, man. I gotta say, I was talking last night, and this is a big. I didn't know of course the lineups are out now, but I didn't realize. But a big storyline in my mind: Machete Maldonado is in the game. Vasquez looked like he might have played his way into a start. Even at DH, I'm surprised this Hensley guy's in over him after 2 hits. Machete Maldonado is gonna have a big game. That could mean a hit and a thrown out of runner. It could mean a clutch hit. Could mean 2 hits, maybe a homer. I don't know. Machete Maldonado is going to get it done, though. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I like Philly here. I think Harper's going to just have a huge game. I think he's going to have a massive game, and I think they're going to need it to win. I think Harper's your guy. If you're Philly, you need to just get on base for him. Again, bottom lineup, get on, keep getting on. Let Harper come up and get to work. It's about putting, I think today there's 2 things to look out for, because I think there's going to be runs. I think Verlander, he might have a better performance, but I still think they're going to get to him, and it gives them a ton of confidence that they already hit him. They already saw this guy and hit him. The mental advantage is there. Syndergaard, you have to imagine Houston's going to get to him a little bit. He hasn't. I don't think he's allowed to run in the playoffs in 4 innings so far. 1 start, he went 3 innings, and then he had a relief appearance, I think, that he went 1 inning. So he's looked good. But Syndergaard, to me, at this point in his career, is a pitcher who lets you play, and you can either beat yourself or not. He gives you opportunities to hit the ball, though. And with a team like Houston, I don't love that, because they have really good hitters. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited. I'm actually excited to see Syndergaard and see what it is, but it's tough. I think over is the call here. Look for Kyle Tucker. Look for Machete Maldonado, and then Harper. Brandon Marshall, too, you can do. Gene Segura, I would love to see you up here and do something. But I think we've got a lot of runs, and I think this will actually be the most exciting game in the playoffs. I think we might have a couple lead changes. I think the crowd's going to get into it. It'll be an interesting storyline how this Astros bullpen does. All the big boys pitch yesterday, and they should be fine. It's just a back-to-back. They hadn't pitched in a couple days, but we saw Presley go 19 pitches. I don't think it matters too much, but he didn't look too sharp. How does he look on that back-to-back, you know? And how quickly do these guys get to the bullpen, right? I think Houston's big advantage, which they really want to work on today, and there's not much to work on. It's just Verlander coming out and showing out. Verlander needs to go deeper than Syndergaard by like 2 innings, I think. Not for them to win, but like he should, and to keep that advantage, he needs to. You know, if they're out in the same inning, I think that's a big plus for Philly. I think they're happy with that. So I don't know. I'm excited about this though. There's going to be a lot of bullpen. I'll tell you that. Somebody from the bullpen is going to have a big game. I wonder if somebody goes 2 innings. We'll see.
You're not wrong. It's a big night for Justin Verlander. Like I said, and like the guys kind of on the post game, they're saying he can change his World Series career in one outing. If someone can actually change the team and go 7 innings, that would be a huge kick for any of the teams that have the ability to do that. I don't expect that out of Noah Syndergaard, but what do you know? You could see that from Justin Verlander. Should be an exciting Game 5. Both of us kind of hoping for a Phillies win. You've got Bryce Harper showing up. I've got Kyle Schwarber actually going deep a few times in this one if he's lucky enough. Otherwise, I think he will cause some damage for Philly, as this will be the last game for the Phillies in Philadelphia. End the season off well in Philly. Send this one back 3-2, hopefully, in our season World Series preview predictions. I did have Houston winning this one. You did have Philly. I did say I want Philadelphia to win it, obviously, but I didn't see that happening. But I'm starting to believe, and I'm starting to hope Philly can really pull this one out. Let's look at games 6 and 7, the projected starters for game 6. Right now, Houston undecided, but you would expect that one to be Framber Valdez. He did get that extra day of rest with game 3 being postponed on Monday, versus Zach Wheeler, a guy who did struggle in game 2, giving up 4 runs, and then also some signs of concern out of the Philly side with velocity being down on Weaver, as you were kind of hinting at last night. There is some concern with Zach Wheeler's health going into this game 6 start, but as of right now, he is slated to pitch for Philadelphia in game 6 on Saturday in Houston. Should be an exciting one. We hope there is a game 7 either way. So in reality, whoever is the winner of this game tonight, I kind of hope loses game 6, because on Sunday, given our schedules permitting, we're hoping to deliver the final live stream for 3 Up, 3 Down for this season, being game 7 on Sunday at 7:03. Like I said, the common theme of the series on Fox. Game 7, the starters being not announced, but you would expect Christian Javier, given the performance he just pitched, and we'll kind of see what else we see from Philadelphia. Will that be Ranger Suarez, or will that be Aaron Nola? I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't expect Nola, as he's already pitched twice in the series, but you never know. The guy's young, and the Baton Rouge native would be ready to go for this Phillies team. Given the fact we're tied at 2-2, we've given our predictions for game 5 tonight. What are you expecting for the rest of the series? You got Philly still pulling this one out?
I got Philly. I don't know whether they're 6 or 7. I'm going to go 7, though, because Framber, I think, is going to have his second great start of the World Series in game 6. And then I think Houston's going to have a little dilemma. I think the media is going to be, hey, Christian Javier, we just saw what he did. Do we want to get this guy in the game somehow? And he might be out of the pen, but I think they start McCullers. But I think McCullers is going to be it's going to be weird, right? He's going to come off a game where he's tipping pitches, and he's going to be worried about that. He's going to be worried about the media saying, hey, why is McCullers starting? He's definitely getting a lot of slander right now. And I think Nola comes back. I think Nola pitches game 7. I don't know how he doesn't. I mean, it makes sense how he doesn't. I just think they're going to push him back out there, and he'll want to be out there. And I think he has his first dominant performance of the playoffs there. But yeah, I got Philly in 7, but they need to win tonight. They're not beating Framber. I think game 6 to the Astros is my biggest lock. But I think tonight's tonight. And I think for a series in general, this is what you want. You want Philly, like if you're a neutral fan, you want Philly to win this, because it makes the 2 games in Houston where Houston will be favorites a lot more interesting, you know? Philly just has to take one there. So I'm going Philly in 7. They're winning tonight. Big game from Harper. Verlander chokes. Bullpens do something. Philly's bullpen's better.
You saw some dominating stuff from Brian Abreu last night out of Houston. It's interesting enough to see you say Philly's got the better pen. I don't know. I think if you see Philly win tonight, Houston win Game 6, and Christian Javier is on the mound in Game 7, a guy who already dominated this Philadelphia team. Yes, they've got a little bit more of things to work on and the ability to try and kind of learn his methods. But I'd be pretty confident in Houston winning Game 7 if Javier is on the mound. I don't know. Should be exciting. Like I said, we will have a live stream for that Game 7 if it is if played. We hope to see more baseball always, so we hope to see this one go 7. Obviously, we both want Philadelphia. I still think Houston pulls this one out in 7. I don't know. Another great episode, another playoff episode. Unfortunately, this is the playoff finale for 3 Up, 3 Down. It's been really exciting covering the playoffs for you guys. We expect and hope to give you one more live stream on Sunday night. But it has been a pleasure. It's been a ton of fun, and I look forward to doing this throughout the off season with you and bring you a little bit of extra content, given the World Baseball Classic, the off season free agency, winter meetings, all the way to the lead up of spring training. We will kind of reduce our schedule probably to a bi-weekly is what will more likely happen. But Alex, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you joining and helping me create this podcast. It's been a lot of fun. I look forward to continuing to do it in the future. With that being said, go follow us at Star 6 Media on all social media platforms: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Facebook. You can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Check out Alex on Twitter at Northside_Sox. Give me a follow at SiffyMam. Check out all the other podcasts: EAFP, Sports Strip, JCA Sports, Big League Chicago, Only Football, and of course 3 Up, 3 Down. We appreciate you guys following us along for the ride this season. We look forward to giving you more content. Alex, final thoughts on the 2022 season as we end it for the podcasting segments.
I mean, it's been fun, man. I've enjoyed this. All of our listeners, thank you. We appreciate all the comments and stuff, all the interaction, and that you've been willing to listen to us talk about baseball. That's kind of fun. Yeah, it's been fun. And, now we're entering the off season after we get this, what's looking like a great end to the World Series. The off season is hope for everyone. I mean, this is a time you can always be happy. And I probably won't be. I'll probably be upset about some free agent, but you also get hope, and you get to think about next season, and it's fun. It's relaxing, and we'll see. It's always fun I'm looking forward to breaking down off-season moves because you get to just project them, and you get to look at a roster on paper and think about what it could be. Think about who could be this year's Phillies, and yeah, I'm hyped. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jack. It's been fun.
Absolutely. And Alex will not disappear. We do have a hockey podcast coming out here next week, an exciting one that will kind of give you a little bit more details as we get a little closer to next week. But Alex will be a part of that one, and it should be an exciting one as the NHL season has kicked off. But for all you baseball fans, we appreciate the support. We love you. Go check out the interview with Brian Knights if you haven't already. Great interview from last week, I believe, if not the week before. But have a great night. Everyone be safe. Enjoy some baseball. And go White Sox.
Yankees lose.
Hits it in the air to right. Back at the wall, and the White Sox win it.
Stretch. Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.